At this time, I'm going to introduce a great friend of labor, great friend of the Boston Commons Union, the sponsor of the Taxpayer Protection Act, Senator Marc Pacheco.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Are we ready? You know, it was a little over 22 years ago. There wasn't a law on the books. And over those years, preceding the adoption of the law that is now on the books, 22 years ago, people were contracting out. It were inside deals. It was all kinds of, taking care of your friends over and over and over again. And finally, not only 589, but all the labor unions across Massachusetts rose up and they said, we're not going to take it anymore. This is not going to happen anymore. And back then, because, as Jimmy said, today is the beginning of a campaign. This is a campaign to get the truth out. To get the truth out. Not only to my colleagues in the legislature, most of which who serve today were not there back then. They weren't there to see what took place. They weren't there to see the inside deals. They weren't there to see the no-bid contracts handed out. So they need to be educated, and the general public needs to hear the truth. And let me tell you what the truth is. I've got a dad. I'm so blessed. He's 86 years young. He called me the other day. He said, Mark, you get over here. I came across something I want to make sure you have and you keep. He was a proud member of UE Union. He worked in a factory all his life in the private sector. He worked 7 to 3, 2 weeks on, 3 to 11, 2 weeks, and 11 to 7, 2 weeks. And my mom, an office worker. That's where I come from. I come from a labor family. My father came just about here today. Because when he was working in the factory, they didn't have the OSHA laws that are on the books today. And they're on the books today because of labor. They're on the books today because of the labor. That's the truth. That's the truth. We have an 8-hour day because of labor, and that's the truth. When somebody works overtime, they get paid overtime, and that's the truth. So, I went over and saw my dad, spent a lot of time recently together, and he pulled out this little card that I remember getting back in 1975 when I became a member of the Laborers Union. 1975. So people ask me, why is it that you got to get so involved in this issue? Why is it? It's because to sit on the sidelines, to not get involved, that allows injustice to occur. Over and over and over again. People's families get hurt. And most importantly, those families are hurt but the taxpayers get screwed. That's what's going on. We put on the books, as Stevie Tolman said, a law with a lot of people here that you'll help. And that law simply says, before you contract out, before you hand out public work to a private entity, you make sure that the quality of the work is going to be at least the same, if not better. And you make sure that we're going to save at least 1 penny. 1 penny. That's what it got negotiated down to. And since that law was passed, there have been numerous proposals that have come forward. And believe it or not, 80% of the time, when a proposal has been filed, it's been approved. But yet, this administration and those that want to privatize, and they want to privatize everything. They want to privatize Social Security. They want to privatize our educational system. They want to privatize our transportation system. They want to take all public jobs away and hand them over to their friends, not because it's going to save money, not because it's going to save money, and we got to say no to that. We've got to say no to that. We have people in this country right now that are out there in states across this nation that are connected to the people that are behind what is going on here in Massachusetts. And their agenda is a broad agenda. It's not only to privatize public work, but it's to take public and private pensions away from people. We got to say no to that. That's what their agenda is. Make no mistake about it. It's not just about privatization of the T here in Massachusetts. It's about privatization across the board. It's about the system of capitalism that I support, but with balance. We have to have a balanced system so the average worker gets a fair shot every day. Last year in Wall Street, the bonuses alone, the bonuses in Wall Street equaled double the amount of money that every single minimum wage worker in America made. That's wrong. That's wrong. We've got to fight against those types of injustices. And this issue here is a travesty. It's an injustice. And we've got to get the truth out. So I've got to tell you, please, let this really be the beginning of a major campaign. That will start here in Boston, just like another revolution many years ago in our country's history, where we will take the message from Boston and we'll go across cities and towns all across Massachusetts and educate elected officials and educate the citizenry and make sure they know that there's people out there that want to protect their money, their taxpayers' money. Because otherwise, we're going to take a ride as taxpayers. Not only will real families with real faces, husbands and wives and children who get up every day and do their job, not only they will be impacted, but the taxpayer will be impacted. Right now, Keolis, which, by the way, is a private sector company. Keolis. Take a look at their time on. You know, the number of times that they haven't made their schedule. It's amazing. That's a private sector company. Every time we read about them, we never read that. We never hear that. That's never the narrative. Nobody wants to talk about their record. Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, we're talking about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the fact. We're going to talk about the fact that they've got the contract. They're supposed to be cleaning the stations. They're supposed to be taking care of all the extra work that is part of their contract. But no, now we're going to hire, through a bid, we're going to end up hiring additional companies to help supplement and essentially subsidize their contract. That's wrong. It's costing us more money from our pocket because they're not living up to the terms and conditions of their contract. And they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it because the citizens out there really don't know what's going on. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to all of us to make sure we get this message out. Are you ready to tell that message? Now you're here. You were here at 7 o'clock this morning. I think you're ready. I think you're ready. I think you're ready. And let me tell you something. When you're ready and you put your back to it, and you get that message out there, the citizens are going to start demanding answers. They will. They'll start demanding answers. Because this type of action is not only going on in the public sector. There are private sector workers out there that are seeing injustice take place too. They're seeing their pensions being threatened. And those people that are behind this major scam of privatization, what they're doing is they're trying to pit private sector workers and public sector workers. They're trying to pit us all against each other. Because as long as we're talking and blaming each other, nobody's focusing on all the bonuses that are going out on Wall Street. Nobody's focusing on all the other things that are wrong, right? Well, let's put the focus where it needs to be. Let's get this movement going. Let's get the information out there. When I see what's happening, what they try to do with pensions, not only here, not only at the T, but across our state, I happen to vote against those pension reforms because they were wrong. And let me tell you why they were wrong. Because men and women get up every day, they go to work. They're not getting their paycheck some other way. They get up every day and they go to work. And they're doing what they're supposed to do. And they make life choices based upon the rules that are out there. They make choices for the rest of their life. And then this other crowd, after the choices have been made, what they want to do, even when people are retired, what they want to do is change the rules then. That's wrong. It's unjust. It shouldn't be done. It should be illegal. We can't tolerate it, and we've got to say no. So listen, we're going to fight. We're going to go around the state. Please, Jimmy, let me know anything I can do. Anything I can do. Because Because if we don't fight, if we don't stand up, based upon the amendment they made to the Taxpayer Protection Act, or as I like to say, Pacheco law, and say them together, because the other side likes to just use the Pacheco law. You know why? Because it's not defined. They just say Pacheco law. They don't want anybody to know it's a Taxpayer Protection Act. So say them together, not just one. You're going to say them together. So we start to educate people that the Pacheco law is a Taxpayer Protection Act. That's what it is. It protects the taxpayer. I want to thank your leadership. And I want to thank all of you who've been out there fighting the good fight. You tried to do it without taking to the streets. You tried to do it. You said, we're willing to listen. As a matter of fact, I happen to know that there were dozens of proposals that were put on the table to the administration, showing them ways in which they could actually save money. How they could save money for the taxpayer and still keep public transportation public. But those of us that have been paying attention to this for a long time know that our governor and the administration was not really interested in that. Because the last time he ran for governor, right? It was part of his baker's dozen. Get rid of the Pacheco law. So that was going on back then. So it had nothing to do with the storm. It had nothing to do with this winter. It all had to do with political ideology. That's what it was all about. Political ideology. And so we will say to them, beginning today, we're going to get the other side of the story out. We're going to tell people what was going on and what happened back 22 years ago and before that. And we're going to start to show them what is happening now. Because if you stick together, if you keep doing what you're doing this morning, if we get out there all across this state in secondary media markets, all across Massachusetts, people will understand, they will know, and Billy Keating just showed up here, our congressman. He was with us back in the Massachusetts State Senate. He voted for this law back then because he knew what was going on. We, back then, had a 2/3 vote of the Massachusetts legislature to override Governor Weld's veto at the time. 2/3. But that came after a full year campaign of this. Going out to Salem, going out to Springfield, going out to Western Mass, going out to every secondary media market and not let up. What the other side's hoping is we're going to have one Labor Day rally. Everybody's going to come out, and then you're going to go home. But we want to let them know. We want to let them know you're not going home. You're not going home. You're going to take public transportation, and you're going to be out there everywhere across this state, and you're going to let people know the truth. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much.